Hello people, welcome back to another episode of Twitter is Terrible. Today, GeorgeNotFound has been canceled for a couple of clips that have been circulating around on Twitter of George from almost a decade ago, whenever he was 14 or 15 years old, saying some bad words. And honestly guys, this situation is also stupid, and GeorgeNotFound actually ended up responding, so we're gonna get into all of that in just a minute. But before we do dive deeper into the situation though, like the video right now for a free one of these. It seriously works, by the way, trust me on this. I would know. Just go and like the video. While you're down there, might as well subscribe. I'm trying my hardest to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2021, and you guys subscribing will seriously help me out so much in reaching that goal, and I'd honestly appreciate it. Lastly, subscribe to Kedu, top link in the description. But yeah, anyways, Twitter is back at it again with some more stupid, and I mean, we all know how stupid Twitter is at this point. Like, it is honestly just such a toxic platform. It really is. But yeah, people are going after GeorgeNotFound because they went and dug up some clips from him from whenever he was like 12 or 13 years old of him saying some offensive words. Once again, let me just remind you that these clips are from 10 years ago. Not only is it super weird that the person who made this whole entire thread about GeorgeNotFound went digging that deep to find clips from 10 years ago of George's old account from whenever he was a kid to find clips of him saying something that bad. They really went through and watched a ton of old videos from George just because they hold such a big grudge against him and just hate him for some reason. I don't get it. I do not know who is bringing these clips up. Like, that is really creepy, honestly. I don't know who has the time to go through and dig up 10-year-old clips. But also, George was literally a kid in these. He shouldn't have to suffer the consequences or anything of the stuff that he said back then. He didn't know any better. Like, he was literally a kid. And the fact that he has to sit here and address this 10 years later is just ridiculous. The fact that it has come to this point on Twitter and the cancel culture and all that he actually has to address this a decade later is insane. And honestly, I really don't think he should have addressed it, but I mean, it's not gonna really hurt him that bad addressing it. I just think it was stupid that he addressed it. That's all. You shouldn't have to address something from 10 years ago. I know I wouldn't. There's clips of me coming up of me saying something 10 years ago on an old YouTube channel of mine or something. I would not address it at all. That is not something I think you need to address. It's just stupid. You ignore it. You were a kid back then. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the Twitter thread. So George tweeted this out on his alt Twitter account called GeorgeNotFound. That's with 2 O's instead of 1. Alright, so the twit longer reads this. Recently, it has been brought to my attention that there have been some clips of me saying some insensitive things being shared around. I would just like to start by saying that I completely understand how horrible these words are. The B slur and the R slur shouldn't have been in my vocabulary, and even though these clips are almost a decade old, I still feel terrible watching them. I removed those words from my vocabulary a long time ago when I realized how bad they are, and back then I wasn't educated on the history behind the words. I'm extremely sorry for saying those words, and to anyone who had to hear those clips or was affected by it in any way. Now there is a lot more to this twit longer, but we are going to talk about what we just read first. So literally, as he stated, this stuff was from a decade ago. He had no idea how bad those words are. He didn't know that they were offensive to other people. Obviously, he said that he regrets saying them. I don't even think you had to regret saying something as a 13 or 14 year old, however old he was. This was 10 years ago. Like, he shouldn't have to feel bad about something he said 10 years ago. That's just like, you know, you don't do it anymore. It's not a problem. You don't say those words anymore. You know, there's no problem at all. So I don't know. This whole entire situation is just so stupid that people had to pull up these old clips and like try to go after him to the point where he literally had to make this huge response to basically nothing. Okay. Like, it's literally nothing at all. There's nothing here to get mad over at all. And no, I'm not Mexican, which is what the B slur offends. And I mean, other than ADHD, I'm not like neurodivergent, so I really can't say that the R slur offends me or doesn't, I guess. But the fact that he was a kid whenever he said this is what is stupid here. The fact that there's people digging up clips from 10 years ago whenever he was a minor of him saying words like this is stupid, and he shouldn't have to address it. I'm not saying maybe those parts were offensive to people. He still shouldn't have to address this. He was literally 13 years old whenever he said this, and like he said, he didn't know that they were offensive. He had no idea. Nobody probably told him that they were offensive at all or anything. Like, nobody told him that that was wrong to say it. He was a kid at the end of the day, and nobody should get mad over this. That's like the main conclusion we're gonna draw from this whole entire video, but there is more in the twit longer, and we will continue on that now. So it continues on by saying, there's also a short clip of me using what sounds like a Mexican stereotype accent while messing around with quackity. I can completely understand why this would be offensive for someone who isn't Mexican to do, and will be more cautious of this in the future. I don't remember my intentions at the time, but I do know that I would never mean to offend or make fun of anyone's culture, so I apologize for that. Well, to answer his question, I think that his intention was for this whole entire thing to be a joke. He was joking around. People talk in British accents, people talk in all kinds of different accents. That's not you stereotyping. I mean, in the clip, which I will show up on screen,
it's ugly, man.
George.
all he does is just say like 2 or 3 words in an accent like that, and he's not doing any stereotyping or anything. It's not like he's putting on an Indian accent and saying this is Microsoft tech support. Like, that would be a stereotype. He's not doing something like that. He just talked in an accent. So I guess if I talk like this right now, pretending to be British, then I guess that cancel me for this right now, guys. Actually, like, what? The twit longer continues on by saying, regarding my tweet about George Floyd, I said how I fell out of breath watching the video, which is true. I remember watching it and I was subconsciously holding my breath due to what happened in the video. I wanted to get that point across and show how the video really resonated with me because of how horrible it was. I have a hard time expressing my emotions, so in difficult times, like with this situation, I find it hard to get across how I really feel. Of course, I never meant for this to come across in an insincere / mocking way, but I can see how it can be interpreted that way. So I will be deleting the tweet, and I'm sorry to the people I offended with this tweet. So basically what he's talking about here is he had a tweet talking about the George Floyd video whenever that whole entire situation happened, and he basically said like his thoughts on the video is that he felt out of breath watching the video, like, wow, this is really terrible. I feel bad for him, you know? It's like that type of thing. And people took it as a way of him like joking or mocking it, which, I mean, okay, I guess I can kind of see like how it looks like that, but also maybe ask for some context or something. Don't take it like that right away, because it can obviously be taken a couple different ways if you're gonna like talk about that. And I don't think someone as big as GeorgeNotFound would mock something like this. He has no reason to tweet it. That would be stupid on his end. The twit longer continues on by reading, regarding the scribble clip, I wasn't trying to get puns to say any word in particular. I just thought it was funny that he would say that there are so many options with AP in the middle, so there really aren't that many 4-letter words with AP in the middle. Thinking about it right now, I can only think of 4 words. I can see why some people would think that I was trying to get him to say, but that definitely wasn't my intention at all. So if you guys don't know what Scribble is, basically it's this game where you draw with your friends. It's kind of like Pictionary. One person gets something to draw and the rest have to try to guess what it is. And above the game, there'll be little underscores and they'll get letters slowly throughout the thing. So it had underscore AP, then underscore, and George was laughing because there like wasn't a lot of words that the guy could think of that he was playing with. So I don't know, for somebody to come out and be like, oh, he's laughing because he thinks it's that word. Like, no, that is not at all what was happening. He doesn't choose what letters go up on the screen or anything like that. That makes no sense at all, that people will get mad over that. Like, what? He ends the twit longer by saying, thank you to everyone who brought this to my attention. I never want anyone to feel uncomfortable with me as a person or a creator, and I hope that those affected can understand and accept my apology. I definitely changed a lot as a person over the years, and I hope to continue to grow as a person going forward. I mean, all in all, this situation is just super dumb. It's just Twitter being Twitter at this point. A lot of this stuff, there's no reason he should have got canceled for it at all. I mean, there just really isn't. It was stuff whenever he was a kid. It was old clips. It was stuff taken out of context. It was just a bunch of stupid things that he got canceled for. And the fact that he had to address this is honestly just sad at this point. I mean, Twitter always like somehow gets these creators to give them attention, and that's exactly what he did here. Now, I'm not saying like go hate on GeorgeNotFound for responding to this or anything like that. I think GeorgeNotFound is a great person. I just think that the fact that he had to do this is stupid. Not that he did did this. I think it's not a bad thing that he did this at all. Just the fact that Twitter made it so then he had to respond like this is just ridiculously stupid. Anyways, that is more than enough stupid for me today. Like, actually, my brain is a little scrambled now. I can't talk straight. But yeah, if you do want to keep on watching, click on one of these thingies up on the screen. And yeah, bye.